I am Senator Margot Greenwood. I'm Nihil from Treaty 6 territory in what is now known as Central Alberta, and I am the Deputy Chair of the Committee on Indigenous Peoples. I would like now to introduce our first panel of witnesses. Please welcome at the table, from the Assembly of First Nations, National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Nipinat, accompanied by Julie McGregor, Acting Chief of Staff. From the National Aboriginal Capital Corporations Association, Shannin Metatawabin, Chief Executive Officer. I will now invite Mr. Metatawabin to give his opening remarks.
Wacheg miswe. Gitsumenende mine wabutagok, Bihtabagok nochin, Gichigitonoch, Mashkegok in anog Yufahegon. So my name is Shannin Metatawabin. I'm from Fort Albany, Ontario, and the Mushkegowuk community in Northern Ontario raised me. Thank you to Gitagan Zibi for allowing us to have this meeting on their lands. I'm the CEO of the National Aboriginal Capital Corporations, or NACCA. It is wonderful to see many of you again and speak to in favor of S2 with amendments that the National Chief has just spoke of. Our future generations are top of mind when we look at this legislation. Indigenous youth must have safe spaces to live, rights must be passed down to them, and barriers to successful businesses must be removed. To do this, we must remove barriers to citizenship, especially those rooted in gender discrimination. Citizenship is central to identity and governance as well as self-determination. Here, First Nations must lead. We call on the government to set clear timelines for Indian Act reform that affirms First Nations' right to determine their citizens. This would restore Indigenous control over the systems that shape the lives of our children and our grandchildren. NACCA is proudly Indigenous-led and proof of the prosperity that occurs when the federal government's programs are devolved to Indigenous organizations. NACCA administers an Indigenous entrepreneurial program, among others, through a network of 50-plus Indigenous financial institutions. The network has turned a government program with 85% losses to one that now has 95% repayment rates. For every dollar lent, $3.6 is generated in GDP, and $1.26 is returned to the Treasury Department in cost savings. In 2023 alone, the network lent $166 million, supporting 8,368 full-time jobs, generating over $604 million in GDP. This isn't just about dollars. Every investment creates a ripple effect throughout the community, including improved family well-being, reduced unemployment resulting in strengthened communities, mental health indicators improved by 52%, and health indicators improved by 20%. For far too long, First Nations citizens were prevented from participating in the economy. Indigenous leaders fought hard to remove barriers, and today there is a growing challenge in the prevalence of Indigenous identity fraud. The First Nation Procurement Authority was created by NACCA and 4 other national Indigenous organizations to improve Indigenous participation in procurement. Sponsored by the Assembly of First Nations, FNPA will offer centralized certification for First Nation businesses through an Indigenous-led process modeled after Australia's successful Supply Nation. FNPA will ensure Indigenous control over business data and direct contracts to verified Indigenous-owned businesses. It will also provide tools like the National Directory and training programs to help overcome systemic barriers and boost Indigenous economies. When jurisdiction over citizenship is devolved to First Nations and Indigenous organizations are accountable to Indigenous rights holders, it becomes much harder for Indigenous identity fraud to occur. For over 40 years, our NACCA network has been deeply rooted in the community. Our network regularly assesses indigeneity and delivers business loans to over 56,000 Indigenous clients. We know our community. We know which organizations are acting in good faith and which ones are not. We are a matriarchal community. Mothers need to be empowered. It is within this context of trust and community leadership that I want to take a moment to recognize the remarkable success of the Indigenous Entrepreneurship Program. With $27 million, the IWE program delivered 600 microloans, and hosted 402 workshops to nearly 5,000 participants. Dawn Rossignol from Regina, Saskatchewan provided a tangible example of success with the IWE program. Her company, Rethink BioClean, is 100% Indigenous owned, specializing in zero-waste janitorial supply refilling for commercial and hospitality clients. Dawn's company keeps 2,000 pounds of plastic out of landfills monthly and is on track to reach $2.4 million in sales. Dawn's commitment to sustainability and innovation has made her a leader in environmental entrepreneurship and a model for scalable, impactful Indigenous ventures in Canada. The IWE paves the way for our future generations, and the FNPA would pave the way for business leaders like Dawn to expand their businesses with federal contracts. I would like to ask for your continued advocacy to set clear steps to amend the Indian Act and return control to First Nations through properly funded Indigenous organizations like the FNPA. This work will support Indigenous economies that are rooted in self-determination and lead to a more prosperous future.
Mr. Metatawabin, thank you for saying that, you know, your organization gives out loans, you manage that, and you understand who your people are. You don't struggle with understanding who your people are. My question is in reaction to National Chief's comments and Chief Slet's comments. You know, that the Crown doesn't do things unless they're taken to court to do it. So if S2 goes forward unamended, what does that do to the trust between Indigenous communities and the government? Can you comment on that? And my second question is about funding. You know, Chief Slet talked about, you know, you'll lose members, you'll gain members, but you'll be disincentivized because you don't have the money to provide the resources. So if you could comment a bit further on that.
I think everything is about land. This termination policy, that was what I'll call it, because 3 generations we're going to lose our status. My wife, she gained status in Bill C-31. My daughter gained status in 2010 with C-3, but it was not always easy. The non-Indigenous man that was the father retained the right to decide if she had status, which is another problem. So this tinkering with our citizenship needs to stop. But every incremental step provides some status to a certain group of people. But it's not going to solve everything. Like you say, you're going to see challenges. And the best thing that the government could do is take this to the table with First Nations, because ultimately we need to determine our own citizens. The interpretations vary, but we lost 95% of our population to disease, to genocide, and to policy. Residential school, you saw my dad here last year. He attended residential school, and he presented to you at that. He was put in an electric chair. It was served to try to exterminate our kids, and they were successful with a lot of them. And we had a special day to recognize and remember them the other day. This is another policy. This is an extermination policy. We need to end this now and solve this problem once and for all, because the Canadian government exports $300 billion a year in critical minerals. All we're asking for is a share of our own lands. 300 plus court cases affirm our rights and title. And C5 is asking for our participation, but the tools that are there to ensure that we're also prosperous are still not there. So you were asking about resources to ensure that we can choose our own citizens and cover them. Like, it's not there right now. We need to solve this. And the answer is in our land and access to our lands. So we need to solve all these questions, and then we'll be able to sort our future. Miigwech.